Hi guys, and welcome back to At Home with Elisa. Today I wanted to do my first ever cutting garden tour. I'm hoping to do these month to month, as this is probably one of the areas that actually does change the most within our property. I'll do the property tours every quarter, but I'll do the cutting garden tours every month just to show you what I've got growing in my garden. I do tend to focus a lot on flowers. I'm trying to work on focusing on vegetables. I'm still learning a lot about veggies, but it's always nice to be learning and experimenting. So I'll show you exactly what my cutting garden currently looks like, and then we can go from there. So this here is my cutting garden. It's an area that we've fenced in. We have wallabies here, and a cute dog. Look at him, he looks so tough. He doesn't like to walk on the rocks inside. But we fenced this in because we do have a little bit of a wallaby issue, and they love roses and vegetables and salads and everything. So we keep this shut and we keep this locked at all times. We also have foxes as well, which try to get to the chickens, so it's extra precaution for them. Inside this garden just here, the whole garden itself is 160 square meters. Now, as you can see, only half of it is finished. We have been here, I believe, 13 months. I think we're at 13, maybe 14 months. And for about 5 months, we weren't actually able to come down into the garden very much because we have had torrential rain in New South Wales. I'm not sure if you saw my video on the flooding, but please excuse if there's any noise in the background. It's the little one playing with the chickens. But just as I come in, you've got, just here we've got some seaside daisies. I have a pineapple that I planted and it actually took off. So I think all that damp weather that we had really helped it along. So I will actually pull that out because I don't really want it sitting in the garden. It'll go into a pot. I do have an area for pots. I just put this here when we did some this bluestone gravel. I put the pumpkin here. It's just got a little baby pumpkin. But this whole garden itself, I'm hoping to have some lupins and also yarrow. So excuse me, there's a dog in the garden. See. So I am hoping to have just this whole garden bed itself filled with yarrow and lupins, which should be stunning. And then I've just got an arbor that enters into the orchard area, and I've planted some Valerie Harrod sweet peas. They're a beautiful pink. I'm a pinks girl. So I have planted those either side of the arbor. And then this garden bed itself, I'm actually just about to redo this. This one suffered some serious damage when we had the flooding. It had about 15 centimeters of water all over the top of it. So it was my dahlia bed. I've pulled out the dahlias now, and I've just got some peas growing on that little arbor just there. There's a cutie in the background. Hey there, I see you. I've just got some peas growing just on this one here, and I'm just going to be putting seeds only in this garden bed just because I don't want to be wasting money on something and putting perennials or anything actually worth a bit of money in there. I'd rather just stick to seeds, and then if it does happen again, we should be right. And then we come over to this garden bed, which is the center garden bed. It's kind of like the focal with the urn. That urn was actually an engagement gift from some family that sort of gave us some money to buy something lovely at our engagement. So it's really nice to have that as a focal point just here in the garden. And then in this garden bed, I'm just slowly increasing our strawberry supplies. Around the very edges, I have, all around here, I have strawberries planted, and then I just have some carrots, which you can see, they sort of square out. I've got carrots in there, but something's eating the carrot tops, which I have to figure out what it is. And I've just got some garlic planted in a diamond pattern. And then I just have gaurers. So they are a beautiful pale pink colour, and they look like butterflies dancing in the wind. They're absolutely beautiful. And obviously the same pattern is repeated just here. And nasturtiums on the end just for bugs. So I'm back at the entry gate again, and this is what we call our trellis garden. So we have a lovely big Rio mesh panel. We have a choco planted, we have passion fruit planted, nasturtiums, sweet peas, all to grow over this trellis here. I'm still working on that. as I said, the gardens weren't touched for 5 months, so we're slowly getting things back to normal. I've just got some onions here in the front that you can see, some potted colour. I've just planted out those little ones there, a silver beet and some celery, and I've just planted in where you can see the posts just there. So the post mark where I've got dahlia tubers, and I've just planted in some cornflower just near there as well, or bachelor's buttons as it's also called. So celery, and then down here some more garlic. And then this garden over here is kind of like the mirror image of it. So I have a passion fruit going here. I have my stakes marking out where my tubers are. I did lose a few of my dahlia tubers, which is unfortunate. Had the celery, the silver beet. I've just planted some garlic in here as well, just like my last lot of garlic. And again, I've got those sweet peas planted in there to hopefully, I'm really hoping to enclose, as you can see, it's lovely and big. It's quite high. So when you walk under it, it's lovely. At the moment, these chairs and table won't be staying here, but I keep these under here at the moment because it's sort of part of the finished garden. They won't be staying here long term. I have other plans for them, but I do love them here. It's a nice area to sit. My husband and I sit here quite often and discuss things in the garden. And then over here I have planted my iris. I've got an alpine strawberry which I'm not loving, so I don't know that it's going to stay. I have asparagus and bearded iris in this garden. This one still is getting washed out when we have rain, so the water comes from up that way and it washes down into this garden bed. When we had all that bad weather, it actually moved some of these big rocks. You can see where the water's still getting through, the rocks have moved, but it actually moved some of the big boulders. That's how much water was coming through. It was amazing. I've just got a pot here at the moment. I have a mandarin tree which isn't doing too well. It's in a bad spot in our orchard, and I'm thinking about actually moving it into that pot there. I have an empty area here which I've just cleared out, and I have some roses in pots which need to go into that. And this is the last garden bed that I actually haven't been able to redo since we have had our flooding. But these are all of our roses. I'll see if I can actually find any of them in flower for you, and see if I can put the pictures on it for you. So this area here, as you can see, all through there was where water was escaping like a river. It was actually a foot deep. That's how big the trenches were from the water. And then I just have a little mixture of pots here, which I'm surprised that they're actually still alive, because they had, again, a foot of water up the sides. Some of these large pots here were really underwater, so I'm really surprised. The water actually came, you can still see it sitting there, but the water actually came this shelf here. The water actually was lapping at the bottom, that bottom shelf was lapping at the bottom of that, so it really did run through. So this is where we keep a lot of our landscaping plants, plants that we want to put into the garden, but we just haven't been able to as yet with the weather. The roses that I've mentioned, natives, I think thankfully we didn't plant all of the natives that we've purchased, because everyone that we purchased, every native we purchased has died. I do have plans for quite a few of these. I'm hoping to extend, just trying to walk without tripping over. So obviously on a large property we are going to have pots for propagating, and the ones that we want to plant out in the nursery. Same thing with like bulbs, things like that. So I'm hoping to extend this little shelf, double shelf that I've got over to that side, and then over to there as well, so that I can just get some more pots on it, because it really does work well. And as you can see underneath there's a lot of water sitting there. Obviously we've had, not normal weather, and we've had excessive amounts of rain. We have a catchment, which if you've seen my property tour video, it does occasionally overflow, but the outlet for the catchment is actually just in this area here. So we really need to get in behind it where all that grass is and really dig out a good channel. It disappears essentially behind over here. It disappears into the neighbour's property and it feeds down into a local creek. So we need to just really dig out a big trench so that it doesn't slow here, it just keeps on flowing. So that's some work that we have to do. But that's our potted area, which will always stay that way. This section here I have slowly been adding cardboard to, and I'm hoping to put a garden bed in here. So as you can see, it should be a lovely garden. It's still very open in the winter. It's still very open. I'm hoping to grow sweet peas up the back lattice. There's actually, I don't think you can see it, but there's like chicken wire fencing around it. I'm hoping to grow some sweet peas and also some star jasmine up the back there. And then I'd love to have a really big bean teepee sort of set up there with some Gaimea stalks. So I've got quite a few Gaimea plants around the property and I'd love to have a big bean teepee. So that's my goals for there. That's our water situation. We don't have water and electricity down at this garden, so therefore we operate off rainwater. So we do rainwater collection, and I have a pump which is run on diesel, I believe. So the pump works and that's how I water my garden. And then we have this terrible area here which is just an absolute mess with weeds growing. And if you can use your imagination and just look a little bit past that mess there, I'm hoping to put my greenhouse just on the other side behind that table, so the table won't be staying. I'm hoping to put the greenhouse on the other side, and then that way I can make it look all nice and tidy it all up. It's still a bit of an eyesore. So just here where I'm trying to just keep the weeds at bay at the moment, just with the black plastics and the tarps and that sort of thing, trying to keep it at bay. I will eventually, once the garden beds are all finished, I will be able to put the blue metal down on everything else, which will make it look a lot nicer. Until then I'm just running with the black plastic. But I am actually hoping to put 3 raised garden beds, so 1, 2, 3. So they will be a little bit skinnier than those ones that you see at the very front. But I'm hoping to have 3 of them here, and they will be, one of them will be dedicated, that I'll be able to put something over the top of it and actually have like something like cauliflower and things like that. And I will do those over time, and I'll have to do those 3 timbers high, just because I do have obviously a little bit of a water issue. Hopefully we can sort the water problem out. But if I can have them 3 rows high, that will actually give me so much more room to not have to worry as much about if we do get a lot of water come through. So as you can see, this is probably one of the lowest points of the garden, and the water does funnel this way. That rock, all the rocks just there are actually from our catchment, so there's pipes underneath those rocks. So the pipes that we do have that run through the vegetable garden are insufficient. They don't really allow for all the water that we have had. I know it's been excessive, they're talking like a 1 in 1,000 year event. They don't really allow for the water to be able to escape properly, so we need to be able to obviously come up with a solution, which I do believe that we've come up with. But again, it will just take time for us to work things out and do them. And then that way the water should be able to get away a little bit easier, and we won't have as much of a problem with flooding within the garden, and also within the chicken coop as well. So the chicken coop area is also our orchard. Some of the trees that we planted in the orchard have not fared too well with the amount of rain that we've had, because some of that ground in there is actually clay. In this garden area here, it's actually not clay, it's actually black dirt, which is fantastic. We think when the builders actually did everything like the groundwork for the property, they used some clay in around the catchment area, and yeah, you can definitely see it. It's quite thick, it's quite deep. So I don't really want my citrus in there, so I will be doing something else with those as well. But we do want to have a lot of trees, a lot of citrus trees and fruit trees, so I will have to get onto that. It's another thing to add to the to-do list. So I hope you have enjoyed my first ever garden tour. It's probably the most uneventful because half of the garden isn't built, and also because there's nothing in flower at the moment. So hopefully come spring and summer, it should look a lot nicer. So that's what we're counting on. That's what I'm aiming for. I'm doing lots of plantings, lots of bulbs, really trying to make over the area. It really has suffered with that 5 months that we really just couldn't get in. We had so much rain. We've had over a year's worth of rain. Like, I'm not sure exactly what it is now, but it was well over a year's worth of rain, and we seem to be getting so much rain all the time. Like, we were expected to get 1 to 5 mils yesterday. We ended up getting 17.5. So it's just excessive amounts of rain, moisture. We've lost a lot of things, just rotted. A lot of native plants have just rotted. So much money's been wasted, which is a shame. But I have big plans for the area. I'm hoping to actually put a beautiful big grape arbor as well. So the grape arbor will go out to the front of the greenhouse. I'll see if I can find some inspiration images on what it is that I'm really looking to do. I know that this garden will look absolutely stunning in about a year's time. In about a year's time, it should, hopefully all the garden beds will be done. We'll have sorted out that drainage issue. We'll have rocks down, no more weeds, which drive me insane. No more weeds down on the ground, and things will be a little bit more in place. So I'm really looking forward to it becoming the garden of my dreams, which it will. Like, I can see the bone work, I can see the groundwork that we're doing already, and it looks stunning. So I can't wait for it to continue to grow, and I hope that you're following along and you get to enjoy it as well. Thank you so much for watching, and if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing, and until next time, thank you so much. Bye.